All right. Hey there, everybody. It's Rev Kev. Welcome back to the channel. I know I haven't been doing these art streams as much as I was hoping to. April no slash May got really busy for me. If you follow me on social media, you know I did a bit of traveling. And then when I came back, I got sick from traveling. So I spent a couple of weeks not feeling good. And so kind of being in front of a camera and trying to get some art stuff done just was like, ah. And then I got busy with getting my garden in the ground. So we're back at it. The whole point of this is to foster times of creativity. Creativity is a part of my wellness journey. And even though I like to think I'm getting pretty good at painting and drawing and things like that, I'm far from an expert. The whole point is just to have fun and to just take a little bit of time and do something creative. And so I try to do a little bit of creativity each and every day. And so that's what the point of this live stream is. And so without further ado, what we're going to be doing today is I've got this Superman bust that I found the file online. I just literally typed in free Superman 3D print. This came as one of the top ones. The file was actually like life size. Like this was a life size bust of Superman. My 3D printer can't handle anything that big, so I maximized doing it in kind of two pieces. So I've got the bust part and the base. And so I thought it would just be fun with the new Superman movie coming out in July to work on this today. I'm going to do this with a mixture of airbrushing and regular brushing. So really, again, airbrushing is quite new for me, so I'm not an expert in it whatsoever. So it might make a little bit of noise when I turn the brushes on and I turn the airbrush on. Sorry, I'm just playing with my setup over here. But hopefully you'll be able to hear me just fine. So let me just open up over to here. So, and I'm going to move my coffee. Got my coffee here. Again, really means a lot to me that you just come and hang out and check things out here on the channel. If you're new to my channel, really the Geek Corner is just me geeking out. It's me just kind of going over the hobby stuff that I enjoy, whether it's pop culture stuff, whether it's board game, whether it's miniature painting. You can see here from my my nice big geek collection. You know, I've got a bunch of board games over here. I got my Dragonlance novel collection, my Star Wars novel collection. I got DC multiverse miniature game miniatures here, all my art supplies and paints. And so I just really just love having fun and geeking out, and that's the point of the channel. And I actually do make about $7 a month through my YouTube channel, and all the proceeds go to support kids in Guatemala. So really appreciate that as well. So we're going to fire this airbrush up. So this is just a simple little airbrush that I picked up, and I'm not getting a lot of power from him today. Maybe I just need to wait a bit. Okay, maybe just has to tighten the tan. No, that's pretty tight. Okay, we're going to try this out. And what I was thinking of doing is starting off the skin. I'm going to start it off with this, just a base coat of brown, because I ran out of white primer to kind of shadow it a bit more. So I figured I'm just going to do an undercoat of brown, and then to kind of give me a base to kind of then work up from and highlight. And so I always put a glove on the hand that's going to be holding the miniature so I don't paint myself too badly. And then we're going to take, this is Army Paints Leather Brown. I'm going to fire this up. I guess I should wear my glasses while I'm doing this too. Normally when I'm doing miniature painting, I have to wear my big magnifying glasses. And so, but when I'm doing this, I don't have to do it nearly as crazy. So we're just going to fill that up a little bit here, test that out. Yeah, see, this is not coming out at all. Interesting. This is why you always test your equipment before you start the live stream. Okay, here coming through. What is? Yeah. Yeah, this is not working at all. Figures. Yeah, there we go. Definitely should have tested this before starting it up. Hey there, Bats. I'm doing great. Hope all is well with you. Except for my airbrush seems to be completely blocked. Okay, let's see if we can take this apart a little bit. Live here. Yes, that's stuck in there. Good. Normally this little piece here should just come right out. But it is stuck in there. So I did a bad job of cleaning this out the last time I painted. And it is solid. So we're going to move right on to doing it by brush instead of airbrush, because this isn't going to work at all. This is the joy of live YouTubing. So it's just not going to work. So let's change the setup here. I'm going to empty that guy out. I'm going to take this off here. I'm going to put this down on the ground, get it out of the way. Paint in there, if you just sit down there, and then we will just paint directly here like that. Okay, then. Good to go. So we will do this completely different work, living here as we go. So we're going to go just old-fashioned regular paints. We're not going to use the airbrush. We'll jump right in, and we're going to start working on some different layers for Superman's skin. Normally with something like this too, I would debate using my wet palette. But again, that's another skill that I haven't quite fully developed yet. So, you know, we'll just go with what I know. And again, I'm just giving a little base color underneath here that then I can level up and go more and more like flesh tone after the fact. Yeah, it was really cool looking for something like this to print out and then to paint. Again, all I did was just went to Google and typed in free Superman STL file. You know, STL files are the files for 3D printers. Tons of amazing stuff popped up. And I figured I would start with this one, but there were different files like, you know, Christopher Reeve Superman, Henry Cavill Superman, like just generic Superman. Just absolutely incredible what people are making with these three-dimensional renderings, and then you can go and just 3D print them. Just mind-blowing. Like 10-year-old Kevin, 10-year-old Rev Kev would have gone absolutely nuts living in today's world with what we are able to do now with 3D printing and everything, because couldn't even have imagined anything like that as a small kid. And it's like we are literally now living in the future. So with this Superman bust here, one of the things I'm kind of trying to figure out and learn as well with my 3D printer is really how to minimize the lines. So whenever you do like 3D printing, right, you get kind of the little lines. So when I printed this guy, he was actually like this, like, so he was lying down. So the lines are going, horizontally like this, right up to finish where there's a little tip on the nose. And so you get these little lines throughout the model. From far away, you don't notice it, but if you use like a watered down paint or like a speed paint or anything like that, then that's where the lines really show up, because the watered down paint just kind of fills up all the lines and it looks odd. It looks very, very odd. So, and I've seen people like, you fill it, you epoxy it, you fill it up, you sand it, which just seems like a crazy amount of work. So I try to play around with the settings a little bit. So I tried to print this Superman out originally with a much finer detail setting on the 3D printer, which turned it into total spaghetti. Like, I went to bed and woke up the next morning and there was just filament all over the place because it just couldn't handle that kind of detail for some reason. So I'd start it completely over and so set it back to the normal settings and did this. And so that's why I'm not going to do this model with any kind of speed paint, because I just don't think it'll look good going into all these little crevices. But I think regular paint, or if I would have used airbrush paint, it would have looked really, really, really good. So, so again, just hitting the whole model here, all this flesh color. I'm working on this generic Superman bust. Now, I don't know about all of you guys and gals who are watching, but I am getting more and more and more excited for this Superman movie. And it's one of these things where I don't want to get too overly excited, because I've been hurt before when it comes to Superman movies and different, versions of Superman on TV and in movies. But honestly, this one's looking good. This one's looking like it's going to hit on everything I love about the Superman character. And so I am getting more and more hopeful that this is going to be a really, really solid, good movie. And and that's usually where I end up getting burnt and get really disappointed, because I build up the hype and I get so excited. And then I go to the movie and it's like, that's definitely what happened for me with Man of Steel. Now, I know so many people love the Snyderverse and love Man of Steel. Now, I loved Henry Cavill. I think he was an incredibly well-cast actor to play Superman. I love the fact that he's a fanboy. I love the fact that he plays Warhammer 40K. But Man of Steel is just for me, was not a great Superman movie. I didn't like what they did with Pa Kent. I didn't like how Pa Kent died. I didn't like how Clark didn't do anything to stop Pa Kent from dying. I didn't like Pa Kent being this kind of fearful of the government coming and taking you away kind of dad. Don't show your powers. Maybe you should have let that kid die in the bus crash. Like, I didn't like any of that. Like, for me, that didn't feel like Pa Kent at all, who really raised a Superman, right? He was just this down-to-earth father, thinking of other people above yourself, kind of those good, Christian American values, and just passing those on to his son, and that his son was living by those. So so when they kind of deviate from that, I don't tend to like it all that much. So this color here that I'm using, I'm actually using a color called Desert Yellow. It's giving a nice, good undercoat here. diluting it with just a little bit of water. And because I did the priming of this kind of more white on one side and darker on the other, I find it's giving it a natural shadow, which I really like how that plays out like that too. Give a little bit of life to the bust here. I'm just going to give a little bit more of a coat on this second side. I don't want it too dark, but I like it a little darker than the other side. Now, we're going to give this a good opportunity to dry. I want to work on other colors here. Yeah, another thing I noticed, kind of looking at the internet and watching other YouTube channels and following different things on social media about this new Superman movie, is if you are trying to be spoiler free with this new Superman movie, you're really, really, really gonna have to, and it's something I'm trying to do to be spoiler free, is in the next couple of days, like maybe put filters in Instagram and YouTube and other social, so you just turn off, that you do not get anything about Superman. The toy marketing is ramping up like crazy. I saw on Amazon there are already toys that are available that you can, like I saw that you can get them today. Like I went online and so you could get the Mr. Terrific action figure, you could get the Green Lantern action figure, you could get a Metamorpho action figure, all delivered, and they were like, get it today. Like if you order within the next 40 minutes, you can have it delivered between 5 and 10 p.m. tonight. And I've noticed with certain toy advertising, there's some spoilers being shown. Like there's new characters which have not been in any trailer or any kind of advert whatsoever. They're showing the toys for those. So it's just kind of a warning, if you want to be spoiler free on this new Superman movie, watch out for these toy commercials and toy advertisements, because some of them may spoil it for you. Okay, so there we got nice base coat here of our desert yellow. Get a little bit more under the eyes here. A little bit more under the nose. I missed under here. That cleft in the chin. Really appreciate everyone who subscribed to the channel because of my last video on talking about, not a rumor, not anything that I have sources or anything. It was just me nerding out and talking about the idea of Henry Cavill being in the new Superman movie. I just think that would be absolutely epic if that was the reality, that Henry Cavill is in this movie. So it was just me nerding out talking about that. So I got like 50 new subscribers, and so a whole bunch of people have found the channel through that video. So I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much for subscribing and commenting and kind of keeping that conversation going about that possibility of Henry Cavill being in the new Superman movie. That really meant a lot to me. And that's one of the things I love about the fandom, is just kind of geeking out and speculating and talking about kind of weird ideas and what ifs and things like that. So that just makes the fandom so much more fun when we do things like that together. Now we're going to go in here and we're just going to do a base coat of the red. Now, probably for this area, I probably should get a bigger brush and just hit the skin. That's always the case. So just doing a base coat of red. Yeah, you know what? Let's get a bigger brush. Get the larger brush here aside, just for exactly this purpose here. See, one of the reasons I like using the airbrush for stuff like this is to try to, for large areas like this, you just avoid it being too streaky. But since it's a 3D print, it kind of has streaks in it already. So, but it's going on really good, so, which is nice. Not clearly showing like every single paintbrush stroke, which is really good. And this red color I'm using, color is called Pure Red. Just a nice, bright, really pops kind of red. And then I'm going to use different shades to darken in the crevices and then lighten it in some of the raised areas as well after the fact. And again, like I did when I primed it, I did lighter over on the left, darker over on the right. And so naturally, the red here on this side will be brighter than the other side. You can see it was darker over on this side by the way I primed it. Again, it's just something I learned for priming. It just gives it a little bit of a difference in the shading, just to give it a little bit of, it's a way to kind of paint in a light source, if you will. Just kind of imagine that there's a light over here hitting him on the left side of his face. On the weekend, my family and I went to Dairy Queen to grab an ice cream. And because I saw online that Dairy Queen is going to have like some promotional stuff for Superman. And so I figured it would be fun to add to my Superman collection any kind of cups and whatever kind of memorabilia or toys or whatever the different restaurants are going to have. I heard Dairy Queen and Burger King are going to be carrying some stuff. As I saw online that was already started, but that must only be in the US. It didn't have any in my store here in Canada. So I was a little bummed about that, but hopefully it's not because we're not getting it. It's just going to be coming later. From what I've seen on Amazon with the other toys, even though there are a few that are available right now, the bulk of Superman toys are only going to be available on June 15th. So I'm kind of hoping it's the same for Burger King and Dairy Queen, because I'd really like to get those things to put over there on my Superman shelf. Like the olden days of like collecting Star Wars stuff when it was like fun and kind of going to different stores to get things. So looking forward to doing that. It's kind of fun. I don't know if any of you saw this, but one of the toy commercials that has come out for the action figures. So it's got Superman and the Justice Gang fighting the big Kaiju monster, or whatever that word is. I don't even know. But basically, the big giant monster. We're all fighting it, and when you punch it, the stomach opens up and this ooze comes out of it. And the commercial is right out of like a 1980s Star Wars toy commercial ad. Like it was just so perfectly fun. Like just these kids playing with these action figures and creating these scenarios. And I was like, man, this is so epic. It was like the perfect commercial to make 40 and 50-year-old men run out and buy all of these action figures. Because honestly, do kids even play with action figures anymore? I like to think they do, but honestly, I don't know any kids that play with action figures. I only know older people who collect action figures. So but I like to think kids are still playing with this stuff. So a lot of the promotion that they're doing seems to be really to kind of promote this thing for kids, which I think is great. Especially with a character like Superman. I know that probably one of the big appeals of the whole Snyderverse and Man of Steel and Henry Cavill. It's like, oh, here's a Superman for adults. And he's grittier and all of that. But I don't know. We live in a world today that's just blah and gritty enough. And having a character like Superman just bring more hope to younger people, I think is amazing. And I'm really excited to see that land and hopefully hit really, really well with the audience. So here we go. We're getting just this first base coat of red. I'm not looking for it to be totally perfect or smooth, just trying to hit on all the key areas here. And not even doing a perfect job like here where the cape hits up with the skin, like I'm double hitting the skin a little bit. But that's okay, because all that's going to be cleaned up after the fact. When I do the main colors and the main highlights. Well, there we go. Superman skin base color. We got cape done. And then should I do the S right away or not? You know what? I'm going to do the yellow first before I do the red. Just because yellow on top of the red doesn't always cover as well. It's easier to do the yellow and the red. And if you make some mistakes, kind of clean it up as we go. Okay, now I want to do a little bit of a darker blue for the base coat. So I'm going to use this color here called electric blue. I like this one as my Superman blue color. I'm using this as the more and more on my Superman miniatures that I've been painting. Electric blue gets a nice tone here to our Superman. See, and because there's not a lot of highlight areas for this blue, like I'm not going to do a lot of different shades of it. Like I might do a little bit of highlighting, but not a lot because there's not a lot of blue showing on this model. It's mainly face and big giant S shield. So or if I was doing kind of the whole body of Superman, where you can see all the abs and all the definition of his muscles, I probably would have done a darker shade first than this one, and then use this color, electric blue, to highlight all of the muscles. Now you might hear a little bit of water trickling in the background. If you hear that, that's just my turtle tank. I appreciate someone on my last video commented, "Hey, does anyone else notice the water dripping?" I recently got a new tank, not a new tank, sorry, a new pump for this aquarium. The old pump had died after having it for years. And with the new pump, if I turn it off, it depressurizes, and it's a pain in the butt to get it repressurized to start filtering again. So I don't want to turn it off when I'm doing these videos. So I kind of readjusted it a little bit so it's not splashing as much. So hopefully it's not as distracting, but that's where that's coming from. If you're curious where the water's coming from, you don't have to worry. It's not my house leaking or it's not my dog making a mess. It's my turtle, which, was actually my daughter's turtle, but since she, moved out and she's living all over the world now, well, now I have a turtle because Franklin can't go live everywhere where my daughter is traveling to these days. So I always joke with people when I go to the pet store to buy something. It's like, "Oh, you're getting a turtle, turtle food for your kid's turtle?" It's like, no, it's my turtle now. This turtle that's going to outlive me. See, I like this blue. This is like classic Christopher Reeve Superman blue. Normally I would have waited until the red was a little bit drier before brushing right up against it, because it will turn purple when I mix it, but I'm going to highlight over it anyway, so it'll all be good. And I'll hit on underneath here. There we go. Dun, 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 dun. That's looking good already. Now, when I get to the base, this is where I was kind of wondering what I want this to look like. Part of me would like it to feel Kryptonian, because I think that's kind of the look they went for. You know, you got that S on here. You know, you got, you know, looks very computerish. So part of me was like, could I paint this somehow to just be like crystal-like, you know, like kind of like Christopher Reeve, Portraits of Solitude type look? Or should I go like just a metallic look, maybe paint it with a metallic shade? Don't know yet. Don't know what I'm going to do with this one yet. So we'll figure that out. Hey, Chris, good to see you. Thanks for popping in. Where's this one going? That's a good question. This one might go on my Superman shelf here in my Geek Corner. It might end up in my office when I go back to work after my sabbatical is finished at the end of June. Or I haven't thought, I'm praying about this. I might do this. I might give this away. So I might do a little contest here on my YouTube channel and give it away. So we'll see. We'll see where this one ends up. I haven't quite decided yet. So there's options. Okay, so let's get into the S here. So one of the things I'll admit with these paints, I'm not a fan of yellow. With these yellow paints, I find them a bit of a pain to work with. I find you have to do quite a lot of layering to get the yellow to look good. Or maybe I'm just not shaking it enough or whatnot. But yeah, I tend to be a little disappointed and not happy with the yellow colors here. So we might have to do a few coats of this to see how it works, see how it goes. Now, of course, now that I've said that, it's going to work like beautifully the first time I put it on. Yeah, see, it's a little streaky. Doesn't go on super even. So I find you need several coats of this before it looks good. So even though I haven't been doing the live streams over the last month, I have continued miniature painting during my sabbatical here to kind of continue my theme of creativity. I've painted, let me see here, let's switch over for a second. Bloop. So right here, I finished painting Gorilla Grodd and Gorilla Grodd's different gorilla soldiers. I've painted Black Manta. I've painted Reverse Flash. I painted kind of a modern day Lex Luthor in business suit. And what else? I finished painting Green Lantern. I did some more priming. I did some more other building miniatures. And then I also just started working on kind of the comic book version of Ultraman. So we're going to get Ultraman in here. Started working on some of the Apocalypse characters here, like Desaad. So really happy with how he's coming out. So I've still been doing some creativity, who's the better businessman, Superman or Batman? It's Superman, of course. Have you ever heard about a bat market? There we go. There is the dad joke of the day. You know, we got to star that one. I don't know what the star does when I put it on here. It just kind of puts it in the starred thing here. So you can start important comments so you remember to discuss them during the show. There you go, to remember the dad jokes. One of the things I saw, I was playing around because I use StreamYard here. And supposedly now you can set it up to automatically put your chat on. Like, I was reading about it, but in StreamYard, level up, check out Stream. No, that's not it. Oh yeah, see, show comments on stage. So I put this on. Comments take the stage. Live comments from viewers appear on screen during your stream. So now the next person who comments, so anyone who's watching, just put a test in the comment. You should see it come up automatically on the side. And so I don't have to go in here and add. It just puts everybody's comment. Now on a small little channel like mine, where I get like 5 to 10 viewers on my live streams, that's great. I couldn't imagine some other live streams where you get several hundred people, why you would ever use this feature, because you would never, ever, ever be able to read everything that's zooming by. And why would you want it on the screen when you already have it in your YouTube live chat? So yeah, so I just thought that was kind of a little bit of a bizarro feature to add. But hey, I guess you got to keep adding new features into your products to keep it fresh, keep it new. And maybe other platforms like Rumble or something like that does that automatically, or Twitch or things like that. So they're just kind of competing with that market space. Maybe that's could be why they're doing it. So, but I just thought, weird feature. I turned it on. We'll see what it does. See, one of the reasons why I picked this model is I just love the classic Superman S of this model. You know, I like the S in the new Superman movie. I think it's cool. Like, I'm all for making the S kind of like an alien symbol. I have no problem with that. But for me, when it's clearly an S and not an alien symbol like this, for me, this is Ma Kent made this costume for her son Clark. So I really like this style of S. You know, just this classic Superman S that his mom made for him. Which was one of those things, if you've ever read the Man of Steel miniseries. So when John Byrne revamped and relaunched Superman for DC right after the Crisis on Infinite Earth, they had the scene where Ma and Pa Kent were helping Clark to come up with his new identity. And his new identity, his secret identity, was Superman. Like, he's Clark Kent. Clark Kent is who he is. But the identity to save people and to live out his superhero life is Superman. And so the mom made the costume, and she makes this comment about it being skin tight, like this skin tight bodysuit. And she goes, well, I noticed when you were a kid that clothes up close to you never got dirty or torn. And so this idea that Superman's aura is like protecting the clothes right up against him. And then she also makes this comment going, well, and besides, you know, no one's going to be looking at your face with a skin tight costume like that. And farm boy Clark Kent's like, Ma, which I always loved that in the comic, that dynamic, that relationship between Superman, Clark, and his parents. And that's awesome. And I've always loved that so much. Okay, so here we got, that's done. So it's looking, again, a little rough, but again, it's supposed to look rough at this stage. And then we go, I'm kind of wondering for the hair. I don't think or do I want to paint? Part of me wants to. This is the whole Superman thing, right? Sometimes in the old comics, Superman's hair was so black, it was kind of bluish. Part of me goes, man, you should just do it like dark, dark, dark blue underneath and then highlight it with black. Or do I do the opposite? Do I highlight it black and then, sorry, base it black and highlight it blue? Or do I just, See, this is where if I was more of an artist who understood color better, then I could figure that out. But I'm not. I'm not that guy. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to, oh, and I missed a spot of yellow here. I'm actually going to finish this. Yeah, a real artist always puts the paintbrush in his mouth. That's just the way we roll here. No. Forgot this little dab of yellow here on the S emblem. There we go. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. So now what we're going to do, let's go straight to, let's look at, is this nice and dry yet? Yeah, this is pretty dry. So I'm just checking the skin color here. It's pretty dry. So what I was thinking of doing, originally I was going to do it with the airbrush. So it's going to kind of just highlight over things. So if I go like this, that's Elven Flesh. Going to use that last for the highlight. So we got a color here which is called Barbarian Flesh. Barbarian Flesh is a little bit of a darker flesh tone. And what I was thinking of doing with this is put that in here and may even mix it with the desert yellow. And I'm thinking of using a dry brush. So this is my dry brush palette here. And what this is just a bunch of different randomized bits glued down on here. There you go. Thank you for the advice. I'd start with darker color black, then add highlights, dry brush. I think you're right. I think that's the way to do it. And then that way I might just kind of pick out a few hairs with the blue. Just kind of, again, go for that comic booky look of Superman's hair. So thanks for the tip. I think that's a great idea. So I'm mixing just a little bit of this color here directly. And then you just use the dry brush to take most of it off. And it keeps the moisture in the paint compared to doing that on a paper towel that removes all the moisture. And then just kind of start to highlight the colors. And this is where kind of hit or miss with the 3D printing of the model. Like, how much is this now going to show all the lines of the 3D print? And if it shows the lines too much, then I just take off less so that it actually goes into the lines and fills it up. I realized that Superman's not in the camera here, so. Again, I want that yellow color underneath to highlight. So to kind of look like, crevices and shadows and things like that in this flesh. And then this Barbarian Flesh color. Now just start bringing out the highlights. Well, that red was still a little wet, so I just got some red in there. So let's get that out. Head back in here. One of the things I was concerned about with this model is like, painting the eyes is going to be really hard because like getting them all centered and where are they? And you're not going to be able to see this, but the actual eyes are there, like the round of the eyes and the pupil are actually there. They were in the rendering of the model, so that makes it a lot easier to make sure that they're going to be even and centered and in the right place, and make sure Superman's not looking all cross-eyed or anything like that. Okay, so what we get here, we end up with a little bit more nice highlight color there. Liking that a lot. And what I can do is I have a smaller brush to get into underneath areas here, under his chin, get his Adam's apple. In between the Superman curl. See, that's looking really, really sharp. Really happy with that. And the beauty of dry brushing like this is it dries so fast too. So then you can actually go, okay, I'm happy. I actually want to start hitting the next layer and blend it in right away. Of course, whenever I'm painting Superman stuff, I just start humming, you know. I just can't help it. Again, really appreciate everyone who checked out the last video where I was talking about, wouldn't it be cool if Henry Cavill is in the new Superman movie? I didn't say he is, and I realized some people kind of said that thumbnail that I made was a little clickbaity. I didn't think it was because I put in the description that it's fake, and I said right away it was fake. The goal wasn't to be clickbaity. The goal was to go, look how bad this picture is that someone's trying to pass off as legit. It's clearly fake. It's clearly photoshopped. So, but anyways, the internet is the internet. So. But yeah, it was just great to have so many people comment and geek out with me about the idea of Henry Cavill being in the movie. It shows everyone's love for that actor and for Superman character and all of that. So, which I think is awesome. Okay, so you get a nice good highlight in here. Put it on this guy here. Let's switch over to the main camera for a second and then bring them up into here. There we go. So super happy with how that's coming. Oh yeah, there you can see the text there down at the bottom. That's funny, Yeah, it's a weird feature. I don't know why you'd want to put that, but you can put the live messages right there on the screen. But I'm going to turn that off. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump right into the next level, the next layering of this. With now my Elven flesh. And the goal of that, we're going to do it right away so then I can kind of blend it and mix it in to the existing color a little bit. And then you just kind of work your way up to a brighter color in less areas. So here, so I'm thinking the light is coming from his left, right? So that's the side. I start on, you want more like the left side of the nose to be brighter. Then the right side of his face. Let me go back. Sorry. Boom. There we go. And I know you can't see the colors as well on the camera as you can like live here, but this is turning out really, really nice. I'm gonna have to fix this area where the red had some goop in there, and so I hit it. So when that dries up, I'll fix up that area after the fact. I'll come back to that afterwards. This ear on his right side, I guess one of the tree supports broke when I was 3D printing them, so his ear is cut off. It's like someone bit off part of his ear. That looks great. I'm super happy with how that's coming out. So from here, Chris, he says, I recently got to review all prior Superman movies with Adam from DL Saga. Man of Steel stood out to me as the best one, but was pleasantly surprised by how well Superman Reeves hold up. That's really cool. Can you send me the link to that? I would love to watch that. See, again, Man of Steel was good. I just didn't like Pa Kent. I really struggled with Pa Kent in that one. And yeah, so that just kind of bugged me. I don't know why, but it bugged me a lot. So I think I just really liked Smallville Pa Kent. So that was why. But and Superman 1, it holds up. I mean, it's obviously dated, like from the 70s, but story-wise, it holds up. The rest of them are terrible. In my opinion, Superman 2, Superman 3, Superman 4, they're like, yeesh, these are bad movies. Even Superman 2 that everyone praises, that's so good, that one didn't age well. So here you go, color on that looks great. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Yeah, and then the last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of raise up a little bit of the color here. I'm going to put a little bit more elf flesh in here. And I'm going to put just a dash of white in this as well, just to highlight not a lot, but just a couple of key areas on this side of the face that's getting the light. I really want to try to get most of that off. Kind of up here in the forehead, across the nose, the cheekbone, the chin, and the jawline, and the ear, and then just blend it over to the other side, but nowhere near as much. Like I'm not adding any more paint to the brush, just so that this side blends in a little bit. The other side, the left side of the face, is brighter. And so that gives us a little bit more like this here. Getting darker. Well, because of the way the light is shining. So if I get it back into the light here. Yeah, technically this side of the face is lighter than that side. But because of the way my light is hitting it, it's not quite right, but it looks like it's darker on the opposite side. And again, from the camera here, you can't really see the lines of the 3D printing. And even when I look at it like this, you can see the lines a little bit. But if you were putting this on your shelf and looking at it from a few feet away, you wouldn't guess that this was 3D printed. You would have thought it's something that you picked up somewhere. So it's good. I love the shading on the face and cape. Thank you. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, and again, once this is done, the whole thing will then sit on this base like that. Be this really cool display piece. That'll be really, really, really cool. Yeah, super happy with that. It turned out really, really good. Gotta remember to wash those or there'll be a mess to clean up later. Okay, so let's go in here. Let's just do the hair. Now, normally when I do black, especially a big amount like this, I just use dollar store paint for this because like it's why would I want to use one of my little bottles that costs like $8 for like a big area like this? So it's just easier to. And the dollar store paint I find works fantastic. So it works really, really good. I use it for all like my scenery pieces and big areas. So we're going to just use my bigger brush here for the large areas, and then I'll use a detailed brush to get in there and clean it up. Yeah, I haven't checked yet to see when the Superman tickets go on sale here. So the day they go on sale is the day I'm buying them. And I really got to be there in the very first few showings because I don't want to deal with YouTube channels and people spoiling things and all of that the first few days of Superman. Now, what's interesting is I will be just starting back up at work. So if you're not familiar with my channel, maybe if you're watching and you're newer to the channel, I am a pastor. I am on a 4-month sabbatical right now. And people go, wow, you get 4 months off? Oh, that's great. You get 4 months off every couple of years? Go, no, you get 4 months off after 20 years. And I'm just going to be back at work starting July 2nd. July 1st is Canada Day here. And then I'm back at work July 2nd. And then I got a new Superman movie coming out July 11th. So we'll hopefully I won't have too many night meetings that week. You go, Chris, I don't mean to criticize because it looks amazing. I personally would love to see the color of the S on his chest stand out more. It looks faded compared to the blue. It does, absolutely. The problem with this yellow is it takes multiple coats to make the yellow look good. So this is just the first coat, and you really got to wait for this to dry before I put the second coat on because then it gets streaky and sometimes it pulls it up. I hate painting with their yellow. Like I find their yellow color is just not a great paint. I don't know if it's because I should just stir it up for like an hour or what's the deal, but every miniature that I do yellow with, or every model that I do yellow, it's a hassle. It's a pain, and you got to do multiple coats. So that is the plan, to go back to it and make it brighter for sure. And then if I really have to, then I put, more white underneath it and start over again. But it's, yeah, I don't know what it is, but I just really hate painting yellow with this paint set. Because all the other paints go on great. They go on so good, and they go on even and look so nice. But yellow, no, not so much. The part of me when I was printing this guy out, going, with his facial expression and the big jawline, I was like, man, this guy looks like Kingdom Come Superman. Like it could, just add the gray hair, but the S is not Kingdom Come Superman S. So, the purist in me is like, nope, can't do it then. Yeah, so I find in back here as well, this is where a lot of the supports were on the 3D print to kind of print it all. And for some reason, when I do supports, it really messes up the model for some reason. I don't know why. So I try to keep it at a minimum, but kind of all underneath here, all back behind the head, because the image, it was printed like literally like this, but up off the ground, kind of like on an angle. And so it just, it's not perfect, far from it. So I think that's where you can tell, oh yeah, this thing was 3D printed, because you can tell where the supports were there. All right. Add a bit of water to the brush, getting a little thick here. No, getting in underneath here into the hair. See, now that I've got that skin done, really all the shadowing and highlighted done that I'm quite happy with, I want to make sure I don't hit his face with the black, because I'm happy with it and I don't want to have to touch it up again. That's why I started with the skin tone and not the black, because if I were to do the black and then hit, you can see it through this, like the skin tone, you'd see the black through it. And so I always do the lighter colors first and then hit on the darker ones afterwards. Really hope I don't mess them up, so I don't go, oh, I gotta fix it and start over. Like even to do the little Superman curl here, I might even get a smaller detail brush than this to really make sure I don't hit his face and mess it up. Which I'm going to do right now before I get a little too cocky and mess it up. Yeah, so Chris, if you got that link to the Superman video, post that in the chat here, or send it to me on like a message on Twitter, where it'd be awesome. I'd love to give that a watch. See what you guys have to say about the Superman movies. See, I just hit the skin. Look at that, even with the small detail brush. And I find because it is 3D printed, it's not like printing like painting on a normal model, like say you're painting a model car or a model airplane. Like it's not smooth, so I find the paintbrush just doesn't glide as nice. So to get some of these little finer details, it's a little trickier. It takes a little bit of practice to get it to look just right. Get into some of the crevices. Okay, so got him looking like that now. Oh my goodness, here's another dad joke for us. What does Superman use to dry himself after a shower? A towel. And the crowd goes wild. So I got just add a little bit of black on my glove. Got it on the model here, but that's okay. I got some white coming off the glove. It's all just undercoat right now, so this is going to need several coats on here to make it look good. But that's okay. So here we got first coat of everything done. Let's go back to here, check them out. So we got the first coat of the dark hair, the cape, the blue, and I did do, so there's literally 1, 2, 3, 4 different layers of color on the skin. Give it a nice shadow. Give it a good look there. Super happy with that. That's going to look great. Oh, I tried to post the link, but it was removed. I think YouTube prevents links in the chat, which I can understand. I'll add it to the comments after the stream. Oh, that's weird. I've added, as long as it's YouTube to YouTube. Oh, unless it's one of my settings. Yeah, that could be one of my settings. Maybe that doesn't allow it, because I have more, not restrictions, because I'm all for free speech and you can say whatever you want, but I kind of monitor if it's going to be a little off color, and I'd like to see it before it gets posted. But so maybe some of the security settings that I set up doesn't allow it to happen. But anyways, yeah, hair looks great, very realistic. Thank you. I know. And again, this will probably be either a metallic color or a crystal color. I haven't quite decided yet what that's going to look like. And then when I put that on display, it'll look fantastic on mine or anybody else's Superman collection. So anyway, I just wanted to do kind of an hour stream here. And so just kind of hit on the base colors here. So thank you everyone for popping in and saying hi. It really means a lot to me. During the month of June, I am going to be doing some traveling again in my last month of sabbatical. I've got 2 different retreats that I'm going away to, but I do hope to get 2 or 3 more streams in before the sabbatical is finished. And then once I am back at work, I'm hoping to figure out on my new schedule what streaming is going to look like, because I've been really enjoying doing these art streams and I want to keep those going. So we will continue these strokes of justice painting and drawing and art streams to kind of foster a little bit more creativity in my life. So that's it for today. Again, thanks for joining. Really means a lot to me. Again, I always tell people that all the proceeds that I make off of YouTube goes to support children in Guatemala through Compassion Canada. So I really appreciate all the likes and the subscribes and the members. It really means a lot. So until next video, God bless you, and we'll talk to you again real soon. Take care.